My third guy plays some games.
Alright, hi y'all, Weather Guy here. We are back once again with more of the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Going through a new investigation phase and Twisted Karma on his last bow. And we're about to go to the Chief Justice's office to see what's going on. So many locations. Oh, we have Kazuma here as well. We still have to find Vigil also. But I believe after this we may be going back to the hospital once again to see if he's returned. I don't know. No arguments, Prosecutor Asogi. You will continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear? Perfectly. It's Kazuma. Dude, Strongheart's up to some sort of shenanigans, isn't he? Finding Lord Strongheart by the sound of it. Oh, I didn't read the second half of that sentence. Oh no. Hang on, let me do history real quick. Never did know when to back down. Okay. On your way now, Asogi. My lord. Kazuma. Not a word to us. He left without saying a word. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes, what are you doing here? Oh, I was just hoping to ask you a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. I wanted Van Zeeks' trial concluded today. But Prosecutor Asogi's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary. Unwelcome inquiries about the case from 10 years ago. As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds. 42, 43. Then we must resolve everything before 3 hours have passed, Mr. Ryu. And a miraculous not even 5 minutes? Anyway, I can't let the man's obvious bad mood put me off. I need information. Does Prosecutor Asogi believe that Lord Van Zeeks is the Reaper? I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago, in that fateful close trial, that Lord Van Zeeks made a name for himself among the judiciary. But the next trial he fought, he lost. It meant the ringleader of a criminal organization was acquitted thanks to all the jurors being under duress. That's awful. The man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days. Yes, let me see. She has all the information in that book, it's crazy. Down in Rockslide at his place of work, I believe. Correct. That was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Bailey. People believe Lord Van Zeeks was responsible? He was brought to trial himself, but it was shown to have been an accident. So he must have had a solid alibi then. Nevertheless, the mysterious deaths continued. In total, 16 persons perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run of coincidences. Well, the Reaper's true identity may well be revealed by this trial. And the impact that revelation would have on the British public cannot be understated. Is that why it's a close trial? Precisely. This country hasn't seen a close trial for 10 years. So the last one was the Professor's? The trial of Genshin Asogi? Correct. Actually, we heard that originally you were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart. Van Zeeks entreated me to relinquish the prosecution to him, that he might avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later, with the son of the man Van Zeeks had condemned now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way. They do say that what goes around comes around. However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well. Zuma is. I like my organization run smoothly in the exact manner that I prescribe. As with the giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step with the others. So that's what all these gears are about in here. If the young man refuses to mesh with the other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps. What do you mean? Not something with which you need concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. Oh man. Now I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As of this moment, I've been delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours. Oh my, that is a long time. And I hold you entirely responsible. Even though we miraculously managed to fit everything into not even 5 minutes. I wonder if you might agree to us, talking with Prosecutor Asogi. Discussions between the defense and the prosecution outside of the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go. You can find him in his office. Oh, thank you. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's go talk to Kazuma. Let's go see him at once. Mr. Ryu. Kazuma's my best friend in the world, but I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment. Alright, let's go. New location. Oh, interesting. Look at this. So this is the office of Prosecutor Asogi now, is it? Kazuma's doing so well for himself. Even though he's always forced to kneel on the floor Japanese style in the dark corner, it's his habit to sit Seiza style whenever he's working. Dude, I can't believe they have the upside bats in here. That's upside down bats in here. That's such an aesthetic. Kazuma. I thought it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Ryu. I was right about what I said, wasn't I? Sorry? That you have all the makings of a great defense lawyer. Well, I always believed that you'd fulfill your dream of advocating in the British courts. I just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as a prosecutor. Seeing you stand in a foreign courtroom, so gallantly realizing your dream, Kazuma, I'm truly happy for you. And I am truly thankful for you, Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. Ryu, I always thought it would be fun for you and I to shake up the British legal system a little together. This isn't quite how I envisaged it, but I suppose it's just another twist of fate. I learned a lot of things during my time in London. How Sasato's father was himself a visiting student here once, along with Judge Shigoku. And about what happened with your father. Then you'll have no difficulty understanding why I had no choice, why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself. I want to hear it from you, Kazuma. As you wish, Ryu. 1 second. There we go. Come on. So, small thing. Before I started recording this video, I set up a DoorDash order, but I didn't press order yet. I wanted to wait till I was partway through recording this. That way, whenever it got here, it would be about done recording. And that way, I can eat it real fast and then record more afterwards. So that's the plan. I was just pressing place order on DoorDash. Oh, goodness. It's still so crazy that he's alive. It's hard because I want to include him in thumbnails, Kazuma. But the first time I did it, I got a reasonably upset comment about someone who was spoiled by the thumbnail, which I totally respect. and I gotta try to do better about it, but it's tough. Like, it's hard to find thumbnails for these sometimes, you know? But yeah, they commented totally respectfully. So like, okay, I'll just edit the thumbnail this time. But yeah, I would hate getting spoiled about that as well. It's getting on for a year now since what happened on the SS Buria. We were heading across the ocean from Japan and Great Britain. Just one ocean, not oceans, between. When a bizarre, serious... Oh no, it's multiple oceans, isn't it? Japan and Great Britain are so far apart on the map. I just realized that. I thought I lost my best friend forever. I must have been unconscious for a long time. When I awoke, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posy of flowers by the pillow. It took me a little while to realize that I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room and headed up onto the deck. Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point? Yes. I didn't know what had happened or where I was. There was just this voice in my head. Yeah. It was a calling I couldn't ignore. It compelled me relentlessly. Out on deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship and we were docked in a large port. Must have been Hong Kong. Yes, it must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off the ship. I had no idea of the situation, but I did have the feeling that this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. Then I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city, so I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. Alright, let's hear about this. Just under a year ago, with all my past memories lost to me, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. The sights, the sounds, the smells, my head reeled. I was truly at a loss. I realized now that I'd escaped as a dead man, with nothing but the clothes on my back. No money, of course. Oh, how terrifying for you. Luckily, though, I had 2 feathers in my cap. One being your knowledge of English, I suppose. That's right. And on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deckhand on a cargo ship. Eventually, after calling at countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. That must have been some 3 months ago now. Formidable tenacity of purpose showing itself again. I mean, the man had lost his memory and had literally nothing to his name, but he still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world. Of course, I had no idea why I had moved heaven and earth to get here at that point. So how did you end up becoming Lord Van Zieks' apprentice then? That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. I call it BS orchestrated by Strongheart or somebody. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. And by sheer coincidence, Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play. Would that have been your knowledge of the law? Yes, exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law. He took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to the prosecutor's office. And then, 9 days ago, you finally got your memory back after the trial involving Trevor. Yes, I did. Ever since I first met you at Yume, you talked about your dream. Mark my words, Rio, I'll be chosen as a visiting student and make my way to Great Britain someday. Did you know the entire time about what happened to your father here? 16 years ago. When my father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain, I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. What I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. It really seems like his father didn't do whatever crime, that he's not the professor. 6 years after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. He told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. It was Professor Mikotoba, Your father, Sasato. Oh my! Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. He even helped to fund my university education at Yume. I'll be forever in his debt. But nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe what he told me. Oh! Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Britain. There was no indication of the sender, so I opened it assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. What I read in that letter changed my entire life. What did it say? It said that my father had been a mass murderer, and the writer cursed the Asogi name. Oh no! As a result of that letter, I found out what had been hidden from me all those years. That letter was probably written by Van Zieks. Presumably, the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. If whoever it was had been a member of the judiciary, he could have been present at the closed trial. The letter revealed that my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer. I'm so sorry you had to find out that way. I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. But someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear the resentment was always going to be a problem. Still, it could have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing? There was a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It was the first I had ever heard of the professor and his terrible killing spree. Well, what did my father have to say about the letter? I couldn't bring myself to show it to him. What? Why not? Because he deliberately concealed the truth from me by telling me my father was taken by a fatal illness. That couldn't have been easy for him, and he'd done it out of consideration for my feelings. So instead, I showed the letter to Judge Jigoku. To the other visiting student. He faltered for the briefest of moments, but then he just laughed the letter off. In that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily before recovering his poise. A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. That's when I made up my mind that one day, without fail, I would cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. The truth about my father, Genshin Asogi. And I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way. Oh, Kazuma. Sick. What we learned today in court turned things completely on their head. It was an impressive piece of lawyering, Ryu. Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper, you know. I almost don't want to believe it myself, but it turns out that Inspector Gregson himself, the victim, was. It's clear that the Inspector was behind the Reaper's activity all along. What? You mean you knew? The real question is who's been giving orders to the Inspector? Yes, Barack Van Zieks is the real Reaper. And I know that 10 years ago, it was him who decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to his grave. No, he was merely seeing that justice was done as the law dictates. He's not to blame. Ultimately, it's people who condemn people. The law is just a tool that they use to do it. And when a man condemns another, he must take responsibility for his actions. Of course he must. But I know for certain that my father would never have taken another man's life. Zuma. On the contrary, my father's life was taken by the Reaper. Interesting. It's also interesting because the Reaper seemingly has always gotten people that were not innocent. Anything in here that we should look at? I guess the crime scene here, probably important. Oh, what the? It's a scale model of the crime scene. Oh, yes, I realize that. Does the prosecution office make a model of the scene for every single case? Apparently so. Sometimes it helps to visualize things better and notice things you hadn't spotted before. Actually, the miniature notice board is my work. Be honest, you enjoyed making that. Do you know who the man in the portrait is? Why would I? What? But you're Lord Van Zieks' apprentice. Yes, apprentice, not friend. And during the time I was suffering from amnesia, I didn't even notice that picture. Oh, really? I mean, it's not the smallest picture. I wouldn't have the first idea what the man decorates his office with. Okay. Bats. What? You disturbed the bats, did you? Fitting companions of Lord Van Zeek's, wouldn't you say? Actually, I've seen things flying in Lord Strongheart's office too. Doves, I think. Perhaps you have to like birds to attain rank in the judiciary here. Although bats aren't birds, of course. How about a sparrow for you? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nothing. Sorry. Just thinking out loud. All these casks, where he gets his wine from? Yeah. They're arranged according to vintage, flavor, and region. Every week they're all taken out and put back in order. What? Every week? Lord Van Zeeks can't seem to settle on the perfect way of arranging them, you see. Vintage, flavor, and region don't neatly coincide, that's the trouble. Gosh, being his apprentice must be a real challenge. Actually, no. No? He considers the task too important to entrust to anybody else, so he does it entirely on his own. So he's a barrel of laughs here and in court then. Ha ha ha, good joke. Good joke. Alright, the desk perhaps? Chess set. It's Lord Van Zeeks' incredibly stylish desk. It's not my style though. No, I noticed you've been working at the little table on the floor, kneeling down Caesar style. Thought it was some kind of punishment set up by Lord Van Zeeks when I first saw it. I find it the most comfortable way to work. Can't do it. After a couple of minutes of sitting with my legs folded under me, they start to go tingly. So true. Don't exaggerate, Ryu. We both know you can't even manage a minute. Rude! These bottles here? Lord Van Zeeks' fine collection of hallowed chalices and bottles all neatly lined up. Yes, he's extremely particular about all that. He has a strict regime for everything, from the storage of the casks to the bottling of their contents. Gosh, he must be having a really tough time of it being his apprentice. Actually, no. Yep, this again. Okay. Probably about it here. I want to see something, actually. Can we present his armband back to him? Oh, it's not this screen, it's this screen we do it. Kazuma, this is your armband. Actually, I think it's yours now. Sorry? You're the defense lawyer. You have a talent for it. I've always known that you would. And now you've chosen to take that path in life. As your friend, I couldn't be happier for you. Or more proud. Kazuma, so you keep hold of that. Besides, I'm a prosecutor now. That armband would have no meaning for me. Well, if you're sure. Thank you, my friend. Alright. And I believe that's all we're going to do today. Next time we're going to go back to the hospital, I think. Seems like a good idea. Yeah. Next time we're going to return to the hospital, we're going to see if we can find Mr. Vigil. And who knows what's after that. But holy moly, I still can't believe Gregson was apparently the Reaper. And that Giselle Brett was the assassin and whoever else may be involved. I don't think that it's Van Zeeks giving the orders, though. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. And it also couldn't necessarily be Gregson as a Reaper. Why would he have all those notes trying to track the information, you know? I don't know. But that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all are amazing. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Make sure you take care of others. And I will see you next time. Peace out.